What's going on, everyone? I am just a typical, average American here today to react and learn about 11 surprising facts about Sweden. So, to be honest, here in the United States, we really don't know anything about Sweden. We are not taught about Sweden, and we are not exposed to Swedish things. So today, I really want to check out this video and learn about a bunch of things that most of us Americans don't know about Swedish culture. So let's take a look.
Now, Sweden is a country that has an area of 450,295 square kilometers. And as of
Oh,
2016, it has a population of over 9,995,400 people.
what did he say? 250,000 square kilometer. I don't really, maybe this the American in me. Like I don't really know how big a kilometer is. I don't. So I don't really understand how big Sweden is. Maybe I can like kind of look this up, or like Sweden size comparison to the USA. That's got to be a thing, right? Here we go. Sweden is significantly smaller than the USA. Total area of 172,000 square miles. Okay. Sweden is roughly the size of California. There we go. There's something that I can understand. So, yeah, not shockingly, like this is a country in Europe, and California is pretty freaking huge for a state. So, but okay, so Sweden is the size of California, but the population is like 10.5 million. That's not too much. California is like 40 million Americans live there. But in Sweden, you only have like 10 million people. That's actually kind of nice. Does that mean there's like lots of space, like for the population to spread out, lots of room? And I kind of like that. I don't know what it's like to be in a really small population country, like 10 million people. Maybe you guys have like a sense of togetherness or community or something that comes from that. I don't know.
And it is estimated that it is already at 10 million, which makes it the 89th most populous country in the world with a density of 23.1 people per square kilometer. And of course, before we get into the cool achievements of this country, we got to talk about Sweden's imports and exports. For example, according to the
So what is Sweden like? You know what Sweden's known for? IKEA. That's something I know about Sweden. Huh, that's right. Yeah, there's IKEAs in the US. Like people love that stuff. So that's cool. That's something I remember. But as far as like imports or exports or like, yeah, what is Sweden like? What do you make or export, or do you have natural resources, or like what?
BC, it has $159 billion in exports and $154 billion in imports. But Sweden is known for exporting machinery and electrical equipment, which makes up a majority of the exports, coming in at $44.8 billion.
Machinery and electronics? Why are we showing guns? Does that have anything to do with Sweden? Why are we showing a gun? Does Sweden make guns? Or I thought that's what we do. Or I don't know. But if Sweden, that's kind of vague, but machine, electronics, that's very, very profitable types of things to create. So maybe Sweden's got some money or something. I mean, it sounds good.
This is stuff like telephones, forklifts, you name it, they got it. But refined petroleum makes up on its own 6.9%, and its imports, well, the machinery also makes up 40.2 with...
So I heard petroleum? Sweden has natural, like, petroleum that you sell, and you sell telephones? Or... Okay. Cool.
Crude petroleum coming in at 7.2%. Now, when we hear of Sweden, we like to probably say, yo, these people speak Swedish. Now, this Northern Germanic language is a descendant of Old Norse language, but the crazy part is this wasn't an official language until the country recognized it on July 1st, 2009.
What? What? Huh? No, I definitely... What? 2009? Because my whole life, like, I've heard of Sweden, like, the name, you know? Like, I don't really know anything about the country, but you guys speak Swedish, right? That was only recognized as a formal language in 2009? That is not that long ago. What's up with that?
But besides its language, Sweden also has some really cool traditions, especially during Christmas. For example, since 1966, the town of Gävle has always put up a giant straw goat. And
This is what I came for. This is what I came for. Big straw goats. I mean, it's funny, maybe just because I don't know, like, the meaning behind this. I don't mean to be disrespectful or anything, but talk about something you would never see in the United States. And this is for Christmas, or... I'm a little confused, but it seems fun.
And unfortunately, every single year this straw goat is always burnt down, and it's kind of a non-acceptable tradition. Before
Someone burns down the goat? But that they're not supposed to?
Funny part is, although they keep an eye out for vandals, if the giant goat is burned down before December 13th, it is rebuilt for the holidays. Now, have you ever heard of the Ericsson Globe? It is a cool structure located in Stockholm.
What is this? The Ericsson Globe. I recently did a video seeing Stockholm for the very first time. Amazing city. Beautiful city. Yeah, Stockholm is like a place that a lot of Americans have heard the name of, but like we don't picture anything when we think of Sweden or Stockholm or but I don't remember this. This is like a big ball? What's this for?
Originally, it was called the Stockholm Arena, and it is the large spherical building in the entire world. It has a
Oh, no kidding. Oh my god. I'm just now comparing it to the surrounding buildings. Oh my god. If you didn't pay attention, you wouldn't realize the scale of how big this is. This is massive. This is the biggest spherical building in the world. Really? That's really cool. Kind of random, but...
diameter of 110 meters by 85 meters tall and can hold up to 16,000 people for spectacles and games.
Oh my god.
But that is really not the only thing that makes the Ericsson Globe really important. This is probably one of my favorite facts of all of Sweden that I've heard of so far.
What on earth is this? What is... There's spheres, balls, going around the ball. I don't know. To me, this tells me Swedish culture, like, you guys are fun. This is fun, making something like this.
And the fact is that the Ericsson Globe represents the sun. And I never knew this, that Sweden is home to the largest scale model of the solar system in the entire world. Throughout the entire country, the solar system is represented. For example, you have Mercury being the Stockholm City Museum. Earth is represented for Cosmonova Riksmuseet in Stockholm. And as for Pluto, it's located all the way out in the Dellen Lakes in Delsbo.
What? There's a scale model of the solar system, but it's spread out throughout the entire country of Sweden. That's Talk about a random fact I didn't know. Oh, that's cool.
It's crazy. The model of the solar system takes up the entire country of Sweden. It's so cool.
Huh.
And because of that, Sweden takes great pride in its country, and because of that, it takes great care of its ecosystems and life. And to prove
Good.
that, the country has 15 UNESCO World Heritage Sites, with one still on the consideration
Oh.
list. But one of the most interesting ones is the Strogeotic Arc, which
Whoa. So these are protected, like heritage, historical places, I guess. We don't really have stuff like this here in the United States. The US is still like a pretty young country, a couple hundred years old relative to a lot of Europe. It seems like you guys just have a lot older, cool stuff, which I'm very jealous of. And it's cool that you like protect them. Because here in the US, if we had old statues and stuff, like, I'm afraid people would like vandalize it or try to like take part of it home or.
Sweden shares with many other European countries like Germany and Belarus. Now, this ark was inscribed in 2005, and the interesting thing about it, it was built in 1816 to 1855, and it was a series of chain triangulations going
Wow.
over 2,250 kilometers. And this was in order for scientists Frederick George Wilhelm von Struve to get an exact reading of how large the Earth actually was.
Whoa. So this thing is like a science experiment, kind of. Sweden is a little sciency, I think.
Of course, when we talk about Sweden, we cannot forget about the famous Ice Hotel. A hotel that is completely made of ice.
You had me. Now you're losing me a little bit. I know Sweden is like far north, so it's probably cold there. Ice Hotel? Really? I mean, it's an amazing feat of engineering, or it's like, but also like I don't. Americans, we don't like cold. Like our winter is very short and very brief, and this looks really cold.
Even right down to the cups that you drink out of. It was first constructed in 1990, and every year it's always been rebuilt when it gets cold. And
I mean, that's cool with the frozen cups, and it is cool. Literally, it's too cool, like in temperature. It's too cold.
the ice from the structure comes from the Torn River, and all the ice makes the structure over 64,600 square feet. I've always wanted to go there, but I think it's really expensive. Of course, one other fascinating thing about Sweden is that it hasn't participated in any wars in the last 200 years. This all happened after the Napoleonic Wars, which at the time Sweden had many conflicts with Russia. But the
Whoa. That's impressive. Sweden hasn't been part of any war in the last 200 years, like the World War? Like world wars? Anything? Is it like neutral? Is Sweden very neutral? We think of Switzerland. That's famous for being neutral. Is that kind of what Sweden does?
signing of the policy of 1812 was the beginning of its peace. However, the funny part is after the Cold War, Sweden has dropped its principle of neutrality, and although it is not mandatory among its people, to this day they still continue to lower its military might. But
You know what? Good for you guys. Honestly, like respect for being peaceful, neutral. Like here in the US, that is not what we are known for. So that sounds actually kind of nice.
when it comes to the history of Sweden, its people have a great story. And one of the most famous stories is it is the first country to have a woman win a Nobel Prize for literature. This was Selma Lagerlöf, who was a teacher and writer. And not
Cool.
only was she the first woman to win for literature, she was the third woman to win a Nobel Prize in history. And let's
Cool.
not forget that since 1901, the country is the country that gives out the Nobel Peace Prizes each year in Stockholm, Sweden.
They give out the Nobel Prize in Sweden? I thought that was a Norwegian thing. So does Norway select the winners, but it's awarded in Sweden? I did not know that.
But that's it, guys, once again, we've learned a lot about a new country and its people.
Yeah, okay. So that's it. That's cool. This didn't like explain. I'm sure there's a lot more to Sweden and Swedish culture, but for me, this was a great like sort of introduction, like a bunch of cool stuff. Sweden seems like a very cool country. Very different from the United States. I'll say that as well. So yeah, some of this was a little confusing, but overall, really fun, really cool, fascinating country. So I enjoyed this. Anyway, if you enjoyed this, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment with your thoughts on any of these facts about Sweden, or that'd be cool to hear about, especially if you're Swedish and you know about this. That'd be cool. And if you're interested in more videos like this, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching and see you next time.